Hello everyone, it's Robin M. DeGroot with TLC Truth, Love, Creativity, and today I'm going to open the new Oracle deck that I got it's from Colette Baron Reid, and it's partially open because I'm actually really quite terrible at getting the main sleeve off, but it was really beautiful in this box. I'm not sure if this is such a great visual, but anyway, I haven't really used these cards yet, and I was waiting for a special unveiling kind of, and right now that we have the coronavirus kind of making everyone have to be inside, I thought this would be a great time to open these. So I'm going to make this a little more visible. And anyway, get rid of all this junk in the screen. Right now, it's a really good opportunity for me, too, to do a little more of my online offerings, because I do a lot of work in person with people. So they have this lovely sash, kind of. You take out the guidebook. The guidebook is here. I love the artwork with all of her decks and the Oracle descriptions. It's all pretty amazing. Okay, it's supposed to help you, but let's see what I can do here. I think it was supposed to be under, but I took it out already. And it had some plastic wrap on it, which I should have left on, and you could hear all the crinkles. But this is still in the nice ribbon that's kind of around it. I often keep these. Ooh. This says magic everywhere and the goddess will help you claim it inside the box lid. That's really nice. I often keep them like this, just when I'm using them more often. So this is our first time with this deck. I'll take this paper ribbon off. I might just have to tear it. There we go, and I'm going to shuffle them, flip some of them over, make them upside down as well, because some cards are reversed, and that's what you actually need. When the reverse of a card comes up, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just may mean more like if you are supposed to be doing your power and living up to your potential, and if it's reversed, it may be like, oh, you're not actually living up to your potential. So in this situation, something could be the opposite. It's kind of a reminder, or it could be a protection in some way. Sometimes you're not able or kind of allowed to do one thing because it's directing you away from something that would be a waste of your time or harmful or just really not the right path. And then that kind of leads you on to look at something different. So that is the protection aspect. I kind of have little hands for these cards. They're nice and big. I could try the other kind of shuffling that I learned in high school. No, I'm really bad at that actually, but it also kind of ruins the cards, but it usually makes the bridge and your cards get well used, but I like the cards to stay nice and flat. But this kind of helps them fit into each other. That would still be good. Now, as I was saying, I do a lot of in-person work. I do energy work, other body work. I do massage. I do hypnotherapy and bioenergy healing, which is a chakra clearing method that is most often done standing and seated. However, it is still possible to do entirely in the chair if someone cannot stay standing the entire time because they have some issue, or they're very elderly or very sick, all those things. I have a zero gravity chair, which makes it really nice to just be lounging in that chair. And that's what I use for hypnotherapy as well. And your legs go up and your head goes down a little bit. So it's kind of like you're in a seated hammock, kind of. So that's pretty awesome. And I could also do it on the table, but the table, I would have to work a little bit under the table to work on the back of the chakras, which is why the standing and seated method are the best, because I can do the front and back of the chakras. I can clear, I can help balance and energize and relax. Now, what I was saying is that the recommendations right now is that we self-isolate, kind of don't do all our events, try not to work in person with people, less hands-on. That's a good thing about hypnotherapy and bioenergy, actually, is the hands-on is not necessary because your hands are really not on the person. You are near the person, but you could be a little further away if that was needed. But massage is definitely a little bit out right now. And I just wanted to say that online options are a big part of my work. So I'm kind of defaulting to what I do when I am kind of alone or just blocked from doing certain things. And I often go to the cards. The cards are kind of my knee-jerk thing. I ask myself, what should I do right now? What's the best course of action? Sometimes if I have an idea, I say to the cards, and which is actually a conduit really for the connection to the universe. So this is like me trying to hear from my higher self and from the universal guides, what is the best course of action and things like that. So one of the questions I wanted to ask was, how would it go if I offered an hour session to people at just half the price of normal? Because normally it's like 45 minutes for about $245, and now I wanted to say for an hour it could be $125, and just so that people weren't feeling so isolated, we could all get an idea of what is the best course of action right now, try to process emotions, see some meaning in all of this isolation. There's actually a really good poem that, it's not necessarily a poem, but it's a writing, and it's really nice in my bioenergy group. I did want to read it, but I'll have to I'll write it in the bottom of the video. And it's very awesome to me because it talks about the transformation that happens with a big event. And the big event right now is the virus, so we're social distancing so we don't spread it and overwhelm the health agencies. But it's also allowing places like Venice to get clean and clear because the amount of people using the resources is just so much less right now. And there's a big healing going on. So there's a healing of the planet in some way, even though there is a virus towards the people. And that's always interesting to look at things like that because we don't really realize in the moment how hard we are on all of our resources and the planet because it's not visible in the moment, just like you don't see yourself growing or anything like that. You only notice later on when the effects are usually a little too late. Growing is fine. You just know when you've grown. You check every once a year when you're a teenager and you grew. But it's harder when you're trying to see the effects on the planet. So anyway, this was going to be my reading about my thoughts on helping people with having some kind of ideas about what this means for them, what they should do, what they should not do, how this may be in the long term. But my whole thing was offering the card readings and doing this for a discounted rate, just allowing people to have some kind of connection online with someone who's helping them connect to the universe. So this first card is going to be, this reading in general, 3 cards. This is number 1. This would be the bottom. So this is upright. Artemis is focus. Let's see here. This will be, this is reverse. So this is rebirth, Isis. These are the goddesses. Try to make it centered. And this is the final one, Ishtar, communion, which is also reversed. So for the numbers, this is 4. 4 is usually a stable building kind of number, structure. And 24, 6. 6 is usually a healing number. My life path number is 6. And 23 is 5, which is often adventure and exploration and freedom. That's the numerical side. And if we add them all up, 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 5 is 15, which also means 6. And that's healing. Healing again, this number 6 number. So in general, that's already a good start, because healing is what I'm after for my clients, for new people in general, and how I might be able to help them. So I'm going to read a little bit what the guidebook says for Artemis, because I do like to read the guidebooks especially from Colette Baron-Reid's decks, because I find what she's written is amazing, and I really do want to always have that conveyed. So let's see here. And then I will say my interpretations as well. So Artemis Focus, it is upright card. The empowerment message: in order to fully embrace the intentions you have set in motion and your current conditions, it's important to seize the moment. Now is the time you can truly make your mark. As the Greek goddess of the hunt, Artemis will help guide your arrow. Surrender yourself to the process of whatever is calling for your attention. Immerse yourself fully in whatever needs your focus, and allow yourself the experience of deep, abiding trust. If you aim true, your heart is open and pure. Grateful for all the bounty that surrounds you, your deepest desires will manifest before you like magic. So I see that as the idea, and this idea that I'm having is calling to me, and it can be very helpful and focused right now, and it can actually land on the mark of what I would like to do, which is really help people and give them an outlet, from their own apartments and houses and where they have to hunker down. So that is a great card for the beginning and basically the anchor card of this reading. So now we have Isis, Rebirth. This is in a lot of readings that I do with runes. A lot of readings that I do, the center card is the challenge or the benefit, like it's kind of the gift or the challenge. So Isis rebirth is reversed. So in this card, this deck, they call it alignment. So for alignment, it's kind of like your protection or something that helps you realign. So that's how I'm going to see it in this case. And when I see the middle card as a challenge or the gift, then usually I see it as challenge if it's reversed, kind of. So I would take it as that. And challenge, like I said, can be protection, can be realignment, can be something that's directing you into a better or different direction. So let me get to that one. Okay, so Isis rebirth, the alignment message. The goddess Isis, with her powers of reincarnation, has a message for you. You are not broken. You're not wounded beyond healing. And opportunities are not necessarily lost forever. Your insistence on defining yourself by your losses and wound stories are not serving you now. Your alignment task is to fully accept things as they are. Choose to find a way to put pieces back together. Let die what doesn't serve you and focus on what works. There's so much goodness to come from this situation, even if in the moment you feel trapped. The goddess Isis wants only the best for you. As your fierce ally, she will challenge you when you go off track. So pick up the pieces, tell a new story, and find home again. You'll be amazed at how beautifully things come together when you reject the trap created by the stories you tell yourself. You have the key. Use it. So for me, this feels very much like I could be falling into the trap that all is lost because I can't do in-person work right now. And that, like I was saying, this whole reading is about giving the offering for the discounted rate. And this seems like a rebirth is a whole new thing that could come about in my business. And I would love to do more card readings with people. I know that, actually. So to start to gain new people and then have them as a new loyal group just coming out of the hardship of the situation, I am very excited about that, actually. So that seems like a perfect card as well. Okay, now we've got Ishtar Communion. So let's see. That one is also reversed. Alignment message. When you refuse to see the signs, it can ultimately take you down a path you really don't want to be on. When red flags indicate something is not quite right, it's not a sign to jump in with both feet. It says, this is not for you. This is not yet. This is to be revealed. If you choose to move forward stubbornly, you could find yourself back in an old lesson you'd rather not face again. When you're attached to an outcome and unable to see another option, you might say, the oracle said this wasn't in my best interest. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. The truth is that the goddess Ishtar is offering this alignment task for you now. Trust that the wisdom in the universe will provide and perfect form. It will provide with perfect form, but in divine timing. This means you might have to wait for a while, reconnect to your partnership with the goddess, and trust that you will not be left behind. This connection is at the core of everything. Okay, so for me, I feel like this would be about worry and mistrust, that this isn't a good idea, that I shouldn't change rates, that that it isn't going to work, that nobody really needs this anyway, and all that kind of stuff. And it may be slow to kind of get a momentum. And then in the divine timing that the universe provides, it's kind of a message that this is how things actually process. So I would trust that this could be helpful, and even if it takes a little while to be seen and to see the offer, then that to me is perfectly fine. And even if I just have one person who could be helped by this and who takes me up on it, that's awesome. Because I really also am a little bit like, what do I do right now in my business? I'm not someone who has a sick pay, sick leave. I am an entrepreneur. I've always been, for the last 14 years, creating my own income, my own economy with the entrepreneurs. And this is just another one of those challenging situations. Now, for me, I always see the challenges as transformation moments because I want to get a lot more online. I definitely want the in-person work to be more like the big programs, but not everyone can get to Arizona and Tucson, and I know that. And for me to travel to you, it would be pretty costly. So the online option is always still a good way to start to see where people are at and what they really would need for their process anyway. So it's not always what everybody needs to be doing a program of 4 or 5 or 6 sessions in person, because some people aren't even there yet. They need to start to deal with the structure of their lifestyle and if they're upset in their relationship. So those kind of things can really be helped with the online work. I just wanted to show what the cards look like upright because they're really beautiful. So this was Artemis. This is Isis. It's very pretty. And this is Ishtar. So number 6 is the healing number, and I really hope that this video finds people and that they can find some kind of peacefulness in that. Now I'm going to do a card reading just for generally, instead of about like how is the card reading offer going to be for people, I'm just going to do one as in what is my best course of action right now. Now I actually like being alone and that's kind of why I moved to Tucson and got my own place, because I'm definitely a bit of an introvert. Now I have my Saturn in Leo in the 3rd house of communication. So I think that's where the dancing comes out, because I love to go to dance clubs and just be so responsive to the music and the songs. And especially I really like alternative and industrial 80s, new wave and all that. So in that way, I do think this creative element, especially moving my body and being on stage, Saturn being my work, is going to become more and more of an important element. And in Leo, it's really being on stage and being a dramatic performer. So I do like all that, but it's got to be in balance. My Libra sun is still the ruler of everything, where I am all about balance. And I do like to have a lot of time to myself to think. I have many air signs and many fire signs in my chart. So I do need to do a lot about the mind moving very quickly and ideas and trying to manage overwhelm, because my mind gets running away with itself. It can be from worry, from anxious anxiety to, anxious depression almost, to just like full speed ahead to everything has to slow down to nothing and I have to lay down. So sometimes I feel like that's a bit crazy that I have those 2 crazy extreme speeds. And I know them, I've been used to them most of my life, and especially because I had Cushing's disease until I was like 38 years old. and had the tumor removed from my pituitary gland finally, but on some level I actually feel like it's returning. So it's possible that the tumor is regrowing, or whatever reason the adrenals are pumping out cortisol too much again. And I'm going to start the rounds of testing because this is the 6-year mark, and sometimes that is a recurring situation. So this card reading is just about what do I need to do in general. This is not about my card reading idea offering to people, but how should I be living and dealing with my lifestyle right now. So, number 1, scold the future. 46, that's a 10, so that's a 1. 1 is very action-oriented. It's also kind of about the self. And 0 mixed with it is actually creativity. Okay, the moon, Mama Kila, Kila. This is 32, that's 5. That's, again, adventure and freedom. Mary, miracles, 31 is 4. And that's structure, planning, and foundations. So these are all upright. I'm liking that. This is for me to be doing what I'm doing just now. How to live and be having kind of a lifestyle or to go crazy. Even though I like the alone time, I'm a bit of an introvert, I'm also usually balancing that with all kinds of other things with people. So 46, that one is 10, scold, let's see. And it's upright. Empowerment message. As you set your intentions for the life you desire, the Norse goddess Skuld comes to show you glimpses of your future. You experience these magical journey markers as flashes of insight and moments of inspiration. Like an echo of something that exists in another dimension. It's fun when things turn out exactly as you predicted, but remember that the essence of your intention means more than its form. The goddess Skuld, who rules the destiny of gods and men, says remaining true to the moment is your greatest power, allowing the self to evolve as you go, and discovering new things today sets the path for destiny to unfold. The power of the present and how you respond to life's potential is the potent, fertile seed of the future. In order to claim the future, you must attend to the now. Even then, nothing is guaranteed, and everything is infused with magic. So, seeing glimpses of my future, experiencing magical journeys as flashes of insight and moments of inspiration. That is kind of how things go for me. And depending on my energy, sometimes I can act on those things and sometimes I really can't. And that's partly why I'm checking into the Cushing's again, because I've had already this last few weeks of the month where I'll just get overwhelmed by the ideas and the insights, and then I just basically have to lay down. So I also don't want to overwhelm people, and I have some problems with being, with sharing opportunity, because I get so overwhelmed and I take on so many things and I say yes to a million things, and some of it I really shouldn't because it's too much. So, like, I'm a part of It Works, I'm a part of Melaleuca, and I'm a part of HempWorks right now. So these are the ones right now. I've done Arbonne in the past, Isogenics a couple of times actually over my life. My mom was always doing Noni and the Morinda from a long time ago, and the Ganoderma coffee, and she was an Amway person from ancient times. And basically, And then we got really into Sunrider when I was a teenager. And I just feel like all these things are good, but they're not magical. So I don't like to be dishonest. I don't like to say, this is going to change your life, this is going to make you lose all your weight, all this stuff. But I use the products, and then I find that I am having a good idea about how they're helping me. And if I like them, usually I tell some people in my family first. And if people are around and they seem to be looking for something, like with Melaleuca, the products they're really good options for cleaning supplies, especially because the cleaning supplies that mostly are available in most grocery stores, without them being green or scent-free or stuff, they're very toxic. And some of these, if you end up with this shopping club kind of thing and you're sending out, I mean, you're buying within this own membership things you would have to buy anyway, then I think that's pretty cool. But like I said, I'm not usually even confident enough to talk about it to people because I don't like feeling like that's all they're going to think I do or want to make sure they buy into it or something. So I'm definitely not about that. I am someone who is so personal. I like to know what your unique thing is. I always want to just start with a call and kind of like assess where you're at, because I know from my own experience that people are so individual and unique that even their problems cannot be solved the same way someone else's problems can be solved. So I had Cushing's disease, so no one could ever figure out how to help me lose weight, because with Cushing's disease, when the pituitary tumor tells the adrenals to make cortisol, that's much all the time. I was a crazy athlete. I did kind of keep it at bay and whatever, but I still had always a tendency to gain weight. I still do. So I absolutely have to eat low carb. I don't agree with sucralose, and that's why some product companies that have it, it's a kidney distressor, so I don't really agree with those things. But some of the other products could be good. And that's why I really like It Works so far, because they're not using it at all. They're using stevia and erythritol, which are great, and they're going a little more keto, so some of the supportive fats and things like that. They are a little crazy on the caffeine, which doesn't work for everybody. I do not have any caffeine because I have adrenal issues. So adrenal issues and caffeine are not good. You're going to burn out your adrenals more and put a lot of pressure and stress on them. So anyway, back to this card. So this card, talking about the glimpses and flashes of insight, and then evolving as you go and realizing that destiny is unfolding in the power of the present moment. So I really do feel like this is happening right now. Like I said, I think the virus is a gift in a super weird way, just because it's such a difference that's making the entire world stop. And as much as it's terrible and it's difficult, especially for entrepreneurs, and I'm not super enjoying having to be so out of the box and creative about how to make money, I still think that's where the opportunities for transformation are. So that's why number one, as in like you're a leader, you're a pioneer with number one. It's got very Aries energy, the beginning of the zodiac, and it's just about the self and really taking things on, starting new things. So I really like that card. So let's see, the moon, Mama Kila. That one is 5 and adventure. I like that to also be kind of like the moon, your moon sign. My moon sign is Aries, so that's usually pretty adventurous as well. And if this is upright, and I would consider it like my other readings, then it would be kind of the gift rather than the challenge in that middle position. So, keeping that in mind, and this was like, whenever the anchor card, the beginning card, that's kind of like the main meaning of the reading, and everything else supports it a little bit. So you can take it different ways. Everyone can see the readings in different ways. A lot of times it's good to have an idea and intention before you begin. But because I did that type of reading for so many years with runes, then I do like to look at it that way. So, empowerment message. Mama Kila, the Incan goddess of the moon, presides over the power of cycles and seasons. The moon rules the night sky, returning full 13 times in a year. The ancients marked time by the moon to know when to plant, when to harvest, when to store food, and when to celebrate fertility. Right now, you are invited to see what is familiar and decide whether you need to improve on it or leave things as they are. The answer to your inquiry can be found in the timing of things and the cycle you're in. You can apply the idea of natural cycles to relationships, creative projects, personal growth, and more. If you are honest with yourself, you will see there is no way to control these cycles, only to use the creative energy they offer to help you. If your relationship is unclear, yet brimming with potential, you might turn to the new moon energy that shows up in the spring cycle of life. In that case, you just need to allow the relationship to grow naturally and be clear in your intentions. When your outer world seems to be slowing down with obstacles rising up and temporarily blocking your every move, do not put up a resistance. Instead, take advantage of the need to rest and recalibrate your intentions as you wait for the cycle to change. No matter what, like the cycles of the moon, there is divine order in everything that is happening in your life right now. Once you know this, the goddess Mama Kila welcomes you to her divine moon dance of co-creation. Okay, so cycles. I actually wanted to put this into books that I'm writing. So far my first book is the itty bitty book that is coming out soon. But if I ever get into a lengthy book about my life and beliefs and experience that hopefully would help people, it will be a lot about cycles. And actually, when I was a teenager, I was very accelerated academically, and I was like very messed up physically because I had my syndrome or disease, basically, which I didn't know yet. So when I started developing at like 8 years old, my family my mom freaked out and she was like, took me to the naturopath and all that stuff. And I basically didn't eat much protein, and I kind of halted it, like extreme diet and exercise and all that stuff. So then I didn't really develop that much until like late 16 years old. So, and because I was so accelerated in school, I actually went to university when I was still 16 years old. And I turned 17 within that fall because my birthday's in the fall. And then, but because I was so wondering what's wrong with me, I was so excited when I got my period. And then there was a store in Montreal called Mélange Magique, which had all these decks. And it had a lot of things with shamanism and the wise woman herbal and the crone and the midlife woman and then the teenager. And it was just like all the stuff about our natural body and life that I actually really did believe in, but it kind of gave me an extra affinity to it, because I had so many issues. And then after that, it was always fine. I always had like pretty normal cycles and stuff, but I would I would have moods. I would have some pretty intense depressions a little bit before. And nowadays I take some progesterone cream for that. But I didn't know about that at that time. And now it's still affecting me because I am traveling a little bit based on the cycles in my own body, but also I know my moods relate to that. So sometimes I try to go to California and still do some work and some of the massage with my previous clients, but like not around my time of the month or something. So this time I tried to do that, but then everything just stopped in California. So I just came back right away. And that is okay, but it's also disrupting. So this kind of plan that I've been doing the last few months since I moved is not really working out this month. So it'll be a little tricky, but it is good. Again, like it makes me honor the fact that I do want to go inward around this time, and I want to be introspective. I want to write. I'm trying to finish the new speech that I'm going to do in April, and rewrite another draft of the book because I have some ideas to change it and make it better, and a bit more of what I want to say. So I'm honoring all of these things, but at the same time, it's like always the daily money. So there is that thing about how are the cycles actually going to be good for us. And I do believe that the cycles are always actually divinely inspired, and it's kind of like it makes you do the right thing, even if your mind, you thought you should do something different. And I always found that when I was upset with my relationships, especially the week before my period, a few days, I would just like end them. And it used to be a little extreme, and I used to think this is bad, but in the back of my mind and the bottom of my heart, I always knew that that was a time when I was the most honest with myself. It wasn't really that I was so wacky and extreme. It was like I was being true to my heart. So that is another way to look at it. And sometimes that's hard to explain to the rest of the world, or especially your partners and things like that. Okay, so we got Mary, Miracles, as the last one. So this one I would say is honoring my cycles. This is a positive card. It's like the gift. So I have to feel like doing the inner work is important right now. And that is a message I actually wanted to say to everyone in my community and out there right now, is that this is really a time for transformation. And my entire business model of, if I can get something out there, is creative expression. So I want people to be working on their unique gift, and especially if it's artistic and right brain and hands-on and the writing down of your thoughts and things like that, because this is all very ethereal stuff, which is not really rewarded in our modern society until it's totally manifest. So it's almost like you think of air things, air sign activities, and water, because water is dreaming up the emotion. And then if you can translate it to air, then you're starting to articulate it. And then it has to get into the action of fire and get the what do you call that? It's not intention, but it's like the energy to get it actually started, and then you need earth, and earth like makes it happen. So in our world today, most things that are like noticed and doing really well is like sports things and all that stuff, because fire and earth are 100% on display, kind of. But the basics and the basis of it all, which is the origination and the dreaming, your ideas, your articulation of those ideas, your intuition. This is first, actually, and it's underneath. So that's why I kind of like to put some focus on that right now, because we don't have a lot of other things we can do necessarily. And it is good to finally do these things. And these things are hard, because once you're in the world of physical living and trying to keep a grounded life going, it takes up all our time and kind of our entire mindset. So it's hard to actually slow down, get back to creativity. So I think this forcing is actually really good. Okay. Next one is Mary. So Mary, miracles. I love that. And 4 is kind of a very earthly number, because it's like the foundation structure. I would consider it like Taurus for some reason, not necessarily Capricorn. Let's see. Empowerment message. The Christian goddess Mary, Mother of Miracles, has come to celebrate with you today. She's here to remind you of all the amazing wonders that are everywhere in your life right now. Look around you, especially at all the synchronistic events that have already taken place. Ever since you were born, events and opportunities have come together to support you, guide you, show you love, and present the world as you see it. Look closely and see the hand of the divine working on your behalf. You are a powerful co-creator, and so you are responsible and accountable for the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that seed your field of dreams. Remember, miracles are uncanny evidence that from the invisible world life springs into form without any reasonable cause for effect. Mary gave birth as the great goddess was shown to do long before the Christian myth of Mary became real. She too proved herself to be the very essence of creation itself. In this moment, Mary reminds you of those miracles that you too can call into being. You don't need a cause or any evidential fact or calculation to believe and then see that miracle rise up in the conditions of your life. When Mary appears, you are reminded that you will never run out of miracles. Wow, I really like that one. So, in this case, it's about trust. And also, I think about perspective, because the perspective about seeing the world the way that I've seen it most of my life has been very much colored and shaped by certain influences and people. My sister really got me into any kind of spiritual thought and energetic ideas a long time ago. I was probably 14, 15 years old. And that definitely helped me, because I used to be much more depressed because I couldn't deal with the amount of anxiety and stress that well, and really reconcile it with my perfectionism and extreme work ethic, basically. So I was an overachiever, people pleaser, codependent, all this stuff, mixed with having crazy anxiety. It's pretty hard. And my life path number is 6, so it's like my entire destiny is about healing. So then whenever I wouldn't be doing something for others and helping them, I would feel guilty. So the thing about Mary and miracles and just thinking that we are co-creators is a really nice way to think about life again, because we can forget. And that we're not here to do it all alone. We came here with lessons to learn, some kind of mission that only we can do. That's why our unique creative gifts are very important to me. And that we can kind of go inward and then also connect with the universe around us and within us, that we can be helped during this time. So this card, although this card reading is kind of for me, I could say it could be for everyone who's locked up in their houses and they don't know what to do, how to feel safe. Just like, remember, it's your perspective is a lot of your own choice, and it's a little bit about your upbringing. So remember that we are co-creators. We're working with spirit. We're not supposed to do this all alone. These kind of major transformative events and happenings they're gifts, and they're really times when we can make changes that last very long, because they will help our heart and our mind and our intentions, and just bring it back to an essence of something that we were meant to do here. Now, if I take 1 plus 5, so that's 6 plus 4. Now we're back to 1, so that's 10 again. So this card is about like action in a way, or it's about leadership, really. 1 is like innovation, the pioneer, it's the leader, and I think we have the choice. I have the choice right now to be leading my company, my business, my own self, my beliefs, my intentions, my manifestation possibilities, all in a direction that can be very spiritual, very helpful. It doesn't have to be panic and worry. And see the events that are going on right now as something miraculous. So I am very happy about that reading, and I would like to do this individually for people. If it seems that it's too much for people right now, even that amount, then I may also look into doing some kind of group that could meet just once a week right now online, like a Zoom call. And we could still do a lot in that, a little bit personal for each person, especially if it's kind of a small group. That could be just some kind of, lesser financial commitment, but always has to be a little bit, just because I have learned to make sure that the monetary thing is there, or else I don't feel people value any of this at all. And I know it's my time, so my time to me is always worth some things. Otherwise I'll be doing yoga, breathing, swimming, doing all kinds of things, because I am always doing something, writing and such. So anyways, I hope that you are all doing well, that you feel okay, and definitely share this video, reach out to me, and I would love to connect. My website is my name with an M in the middle for my middle name. So it's Robin M. DeGroot, Robin M like Mary, DeGroot, DeGroot.com, and that's the same as my email. My email is robin@robinmdgroot.com. That's usually the best way to get a hold of me, because I do get a lot of calls on my number, which are kind of spammy and markety and all that stuff. So you can call, definitely just leave a message and say you'd like to hash out some ideas about what to come up with for a reading. Like, if you really can't afford the $125, let me know. I'm totally open to meeting you where you're at, and I just want to help people. And I really want to help the elderly right now. Like, if they could come in even for energy work is really not very invasive, and it's so good for people who are post-surgery, cancer, any kind of illness, and just elderly in general, because it's so gentle and really can help release chronic things and help with beginning a new process of regeneration, which we're always doing. But the way that energy work helps that is that it removes the blockages from the energetic system through the chakras. And then the regeneration that's always happening in general has more flow throughout the whole system. So in that way, you can really feel like it's all working again, and that can help so many different areas of your life. Because the blockages get caught in the chakras from different stresses, could be emotional, physical, all these things over our life. Some of them just compound as we grow older, and some kind of work out, but it's like works its way out very slowly. So it's always a little bit of a too extreme or deficient chakra. So the way that I work with the chakras is I'll do the assessment first with your body and see if you have a one particular one that's coming up. And then I work with that one the most with the clearing. And if there are two, sometimes I can kind of combine them, but I generally work with the first one the most. And then try to see you like 4 times at least. And my programs are usually set up for 6 times because I want to do the assessment day and then work out all kinds of things for your life and a bit of a plan and where you want to be at. And then by the 6th time, we've already done all the 4 sessions, and we've also done hypnotherapy and massage. And then we also can wrap it up and assess and see where you're at and how you're feeling and see if you wanted to do anything different from there. So anyway, definitely connect with me, connect with my site, share this video, subscribe if it's on YouTube. Same thing with the podcast. I'm not sure if I'll get this one on the podcast, because if I don't do it on Zoom, the audio is a little harder to extract, but we'll see. Subscribe, share it, hit the notification bell if you really want to know when I'm doing videos, and that would be great. Now on Facebook, I have probably almost the max number of friends, but you could try, or you could follow me, and then you could also follow and like my business page, which is TLC, Truth, Love, Creativity on Facebook. Okay, talk to you all later.